Okay, good morning. Good morning. It is Monday, so we made it through the weekend. It is October 30th at 7:38 a.m. And tonight is the eve of Halloween. So I'm not really sure. Now, I know, right? Am I a witch? Well, if I am, there's some things that I don't know. For example, is tonight considered Hallows Eve, the evening before Halloween Day, or is Halloween Day's evening considered the eve of Halloween? Hmm. Is that philosophical, or is that a valid question? Or is that no, I mean, well, why isn't philosophical a valid question? It is. I'm just saying, what I mean by, is that already said by some philosopher, or is that an original valid question? I'm saying, I don't know. You see, now the better witches or wizards would know a specific answer to that, right? Tonight it is, or no, it's tomorrow night. I'm just not sure. I'm not sure. Like on Christmas, I know they call Christmas Eve the night before Christmas Day. So I'm going to use that as my basis of comparison to say that probably tonight is Hallows Eve or something like that. This is just like the same thing as Christmas Eve. Well, anyway, this Halloween wasn't that great. I had a costume. It was really pretty too. But anyway, I didn't really get to wear it. I put it on and I didn't get to wear it because there was nothing. I had nothing to do. I had no party. I knew one person was having a party, but I didn't think that I would fit in even in costume because I don't know. Maybe I think I'm just too old to hang out with that crowd. They're younger, and I would probably look like a mother figure. It's just uncomfortable, when you're sitting there like it's not it's this feeling. It's a feeling that's uncomfortable about I don't know. I keep using the word socializing, but it's just an uncomfortable feeling about even when you mentally get past the discrimination of age. I mean, and I think most people start getting over that by the time they're 40. You it's just a number. That's stuff they start saying. It's just a number because you know it doesn't really mean much anymore. You're past all the significant factoids about numbers of age. You've already got your driver's license. You've already had a job. You've already uh, gotten legal to smoke or drink. So you've passed all the significant like legal factoids of age, and after that, it's just whatever happens happens. And then by the time you've survived and reached a 40, you're just like, I'm still here. Who cares about how old I am? You know? But the uncomfortable part is when you want to be social person. So, in a social group or a setting or something. And it's not discrimination when you say, well, they're 20 somethings, I'm a 40 or 50 something, and I'm like a mom hanging out with the kids. That's not being discriminatory. It's just uncomfortable. Mm, It feels uncomfortable. Yeah. Anyway, so I this video wasn't even titled that. What does that have to do with anything? Nothing. Just some thoughts. Really, this video is supposed to be about divorce. So I'm going to start with the poem that I wrote about it because the divorce was discussed and it's going to happen. So, since it's the end of October and the divorce should be finalized by the end of November, I wrote a little poem which I will share. And I'm not going to cry about this because this was already cried about. There were many, many, many tears for the past 6 years that were spent on the leading to the finalization and the closing of this chapter of my life. So I'm not going to spend tears on a video. I'm not going to spend tears about the final decision to get divorced. We're just going to let it happen. And here's the poem I wrote about it. And then I'll tell you my feelings without going boo hoo hoo. Okay. So the poem is called I'll Be Divorced Next Month. A poem recited, written by me, Shannon. Okay. Sunday before Halloween. Discussion after the storm. Fourth time mentioned. Divorce? Yes. 3 strikes, we're out. There's nothing left to weather. There's no war of the roses. There's no custody battle. There's no good guy or bad guy. There's just a goodbye. We never had a prenup. Our plans were always half-ass shit. So all I ask, if our friendship can survive, is for some kindness and consideration. I'll be gentle, if you are. Thank you for my emancipation. I have no regrets. You are not the worst. You are not the best. The hyena is gone. The butterfly in my heart is here to stay. And that is my poem about the decision to get divorced. Now, we will talk about my feelings. I told you, I always say we. It's the MPD, multiple personality disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar. So I like to talk about myself in the plural. We will talk about feelings without boo-hoo-hooing, okay? I spent many tears in past 6 years boo-hooing about this because I was not the type of girl or woman or person to take marriage like a joke or lightly. No, I did take it seriously. I did try to honor it. I did. And no matter what people say about my ways before marriage or my ways even during marriage, I believe in my heart that I did the best that I possibly could. Now, compared, if you put it on a time scale, when was I at my best as a wife? Probably the first 4 years I was at my best as a wife. But that doesn't mean that I was at my worst, after that. I did not give much to the marriage, not much at all, the last 2 or 3 years, because I had gotten to the point in my soul where I was embracing a lifestyle of you give what you get, or you get what you give kind of thing. So if I sucked as a wife the past 3 years, it's because he sucked as a husband. That's my opinion. If they wanted more, they being, I'm going to consider him as having MPD also. So I'm going to call him plural also, like we and them. If he or they, however many personalities he has, wanted more out of me, then he should have given more to get more. And whatever he got out of me is what he gave. And that's the end of it. So, it's over. We were married in 2011. It is 2023. So I guess we've known each other for 13 years. We met 13 years ago. But I guess officially, technically, it's about 12 years of marriage if you don't consider the first year part of it, right? 13 years of being together, 12 years of official. And it's over. Some people don't like talking about divorce. Uh, they don't believe in divorce. I was one of them. I didn't believe in divorce, which is probably why I stayed married much longer than I should have, because I stopped being happy after the seventh year. And a lot of people talk about the seventh year. They say that's a typical point in marriage where it's a make or break point. But I held on. I held on for various reasons, one of them being my upbringing and my beliefs. But it was pretty much over at the seventh year for us. I just didn't want to accept that. Mm. It's a mark. It's true. The seventh year is going to determine it. Mm. It's a make or break point. It's not just the 7 year itch. I know it makes it sound so little. No, that seventh year, really, really, you absolutely know what's going on. But some of us stay in denial. I was in denial. I was like, no, no, this can't be right. It'll get better. That's what I kept telling myself. But it didn't. It progressively got worse and worse. Really bad. And what had happened in the sixth and seventh year were already so horrible that should have been enough to open my eyes and say, enough. Let's end this. It should have been. But I couldn't accept it. I was in denial, and I let it go on for another 5 years. Even though about 2.5 of those 5 years we were separated, which taught me something. Actually, a separation is also very enlightening. To separate yourself before you make the final decision is really good, I think, because the separation showed me the difference about how I felt about our relationship and how I felt about myself without the relationship. And I was happier actually after when we were separated. After the separation occurred, even though I was going through a lot of hard things. I mean, in my personal, like solo life, it was extremely difficult. Financially, I was homeless. I didn't know who to turn to. I was going through a lot. And yet, I was happier. Inside, I was happier. Because loneliness, let me tell you about loneliness. When you're alone and solo, you're lonely, but you have the whole world is as open to you. Anyone could be your friend, anyone. So you're lonely, but you can find someone to talk to or feel with or or even ally with, whatever you want to call it. So it's different kind of loneliness. But when you're in this quote unquote relationship, this official thing called marriage, and you're always alone anyway, and your so-called partner is off with everybody, but you're still alone, it is 100 times worse. The loneliness is 100 times worse. It'll bring you to tears more so than you should be crying, because you're trying to honor some official rules, some official relationship dogma, and it's preventing you from any social experience, because they're going to throw stones at you like you're Mary Magdalene if you try to budge out of that defined role. Well, you're a wife. You can't go out there, you whore. So then you're isolated, alone, while your so-called husband gets to do whatever the hell he wants, and you have nothing but loneliness. Believe me, you'll cry way more lonely in marriage than you'll cry lonely as a single person. Way more. I did. Because you have no choices. You can get stoned by the judges and the haters, or you can get a divorce. I'm choosing the divorce. I'm tired of getting stoned.